Good afternoon. My name is Joe Schofield. I am a Solutions Engineering Manager here at Vonage. Joined today by Gary. Gary, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Gary Schiavo. I'm Director of Channels for PCI Pal.
So today we're going to go through and talk about the chaos of compliance around PCI within the contact center. Now, the reason Gary's up here joining me on stage is we have a very deep and rich partnership that we've developed over the last 10 years. PCI Pal is a leader in ensuring security and taking payments in the contact center. Obviously, Vonage, being a major component within contact center delivery, relies heavily on partners like PCI Pal to ensure compliance across the industry as we work with our customers. It's important that we build and maintain these strong relationships throughout that to ensure that our customers are able to meet the demands of their customers. Now, over the years, we've had several large joint customers throughout the globe, and that's actually one of the main strengths that PCI Pal brings to the equation is the ability to deliver in a global environment.
So just to touch on PCI DSS. PCI DSS stands for Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard. And essentially what it is a list of standards or requirements that organizations must adhere to in order to be PCI compliant. So if you're taking payments, you need to follow these standards in order to be compliant. So recently, it was March 31st of this year, we went from PCI DSS 3.2.1 to PCI DSS 4.0. And what's important about that, is it is a ever-evolving standard, so these standards change fairly regularly. And in order to stay compliant, you need to make sure that you're adhering to the new standards that are coming out. So just this year, the standards had changed quite a bit. So people had to scramble to make sure that they maintained compliance or adhered to these new standards in order to continue taking payments without the risk of fees and fines and things like that.
Absolutely. And that's really where the partnership that Vonage and PCI Pal have. The goal for this is to ensure compliance for PCI DSS as the regulations continue to evolve and change throughout the years. The goal is to completely de-scope the contact center agents from the equation. Ultimately, that means that your agents don't have access to customer information, payment details, card numbers, and there's no way that they have access to that in any form, whether it's written, whether it's verbal, or any of those pieces. Ultimately, that helps pull them out of the equation and keep your customers' data secure. From a deployment perspective, PCI Pal has been designed for optimal efficiency, and you'll see that as we go through some of the click paths. They are fully embedded within Salesforce and within the Vonage platform. Ultimately, the drive is for a reliable, secure solution to solve these complex customer problems.
So we're just going to ask a few questions here. How many of you people out there have ever called a company or an organization and had to provide a payment card information over the phone, talking to an agent? Raise of hands, right? Pretty much everybody. Have you ever had a concern while you're doing that? You don't know what that agent is doing with your information. Has that ever concerned you? You don't know that this person at all. It's a complete stranger on the other end of the line, right? If it hasn't concerned you, maybe it should. And then, has anyone you ever know or you ever had your credit card information compromised? Anybody? There we go. There's always going to be a few that have had it compromised, right? And these are the reasons why we're talking to you today. And then lastly, has anybody ever received an email or a letter in the mail stating that there was a breach and that some of your security or some of your personal data might have been compromised? Okay. Just received one myself 2 weeks ago. So these are all the reasons as to why we're here talking to you today, because this stuff is a recurring problem, and it's a continuous thing And our goal is to make sure that even if these breaches occur, that none of your data is there to be stolen. So breaches happen, but if breaches happen and PCI Pal is involved, none of your sensitive data would have been there to been compromised in the first place.
Excellent.
I can take this here.
Oh, yeah. I was gonna say, you wanna take this one?
Just a few things on what to know, right? So the goal behind PCI Pal is to prevent your credit card data from ever reaching the contact center. We're going to show you how we do that. If the data is not in the contact center, just what I was talking about, it can't be breached. It can't be stolen because it's not there, right? Another goal is to keep the agent and the caller in constant verbal communication. It's better customer experience rather than sending them off to another technology to make their payment. We want to keep those two communicating the entire time. We also want to eliminate the need for pausing and resuming of recordings. With the PCI Pal solution, as you'll see here as well, there's no need to pause and resume recording. You can record from start to finish, cradle to grave as we call it, without ever pausing that recording. If you ever need that recording in the future for compliance purposes or training purposes, there are no gaps in that recording, either on the screen or verbally. The other thing we do is solve for home workers. We all know that there's a lot of home working contact center agents now. We're going to touch on that again as well. So this solution solves for that problem as well. And another point, this is a little bit of an older stat. However, when this statistic is actually about 4 or 5 years old, but 68% of the contact centers, which essentially is 2/3 of contact centers, take payment, right? And we believe that this stat is actually higher currently. And then lastly, PCI DSS is a global standard, which means everybody must adhere to it in order to be compliant.
Excellent. Now, Gary, correct me if I'm wrong, but back in the day, you used to just be able to hit pause and resume on a call recording and be within compliance. Is that still not the case?
So it's a common myth, right? A lot of organizations out there that we talk to on a regular basis will say, we are compliant. We pause recording, when the agent takes a payment. When they're done, we resume the recording. In reality, the only thing that pausing and resuming of recording does is take your recorder out of scope. So your agent is still in scope. The environment is still in scope because your agent is entering that sensitive data into their desktop and it's hitting your environment. The SBCs are in scope, so you have quite a few components that are still in scope if you pause and resume recording. The other piece, as you'll see on the screen here too, is redaction. People feel as if they redact that information after the fact, that makes them compliant. However, it doesn't. Again, all that's doing is protecting the recording environment and your data retention.
So basically what you're saying is anytime the agent themselves receives the credit card number verbally or through a text, they're still in scope for PCI DSS.
100%. If they can hear the card number or if they can see the card number, they're in scope.
Interesting.
So to take that a little bit further, we talked just briefly on one of these earlier slides about remote working, right? So we all know remote working is a big part of contact centers today. During COVID, a large percentage of contact centers moved a large percent of their agents to work from home. Today, the statistic is over 80% of contact centers actually work from a home environment. And if you think about a home environment, there's a lot of things to be concerned about. There's no visual oversight of those employees, right? So they're sitting at their dining room table. They're taking a call with a client. They may be taking sensitive information over that call. You don't know where they're sitting. You don't know who's sitting around them. They could have a family member, a friend, somebody walk past right as they're taking a credit card. And if that information is verbally presented to that agent, that puts your organization at risk. Additionally, outside of home workers, some of these home or remote workers might choose to work someplace else. So they may go to someplace like a WeWork or a library or a coffee shop. All of those places present further risk for your organization when it comes to PCI sensitive data.
So effectively what you're saying is in the workplace, you can control the environment, you can control the people who are surfing over somebody else's shoulder and looking at some of this sensitive data. It's impossible to control in the real world.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's very difficult to control. But even in a work environment, right, you don't want that data ever hitting that agent.
Absolutely makes sense. So Gary, why don't we take a look at some of what PCI Pal can do within its solution embedded inside of the Vonage and Salesforce architecture.
Sounds good.
So today we're going to cover off on a couple quick components here. The first of which that we'll walk through is going to be over the phone, what we refer to as agent-assisted PCI compliance. We'll then take a couple look at some of the digital engagement channels, and then ultimately we'll cover off on taking payments virtually through the IVR. So as we come through here, the first piece that you'll notice is fully embedded inside of the Salesforce and Vonage applications. You can simply select Take a Payment, and that's now going to connect seamlessly to the PCI Pal payment gateway. Now with this, we're simply going to select the card number from the agent's perspective, and they're going to ask the caller to use their touch tone device to enter in the digits of their card number. Now with this, PCI Pal is going to intercept those DTMF tones. They're going to obfuscate those, or basically take out the actual DTMF tone and replace it with, what is it, just a zero?
It's just a flat tone,
Yeah.
right? We use a flat monotone. All the digits sound exactly the same, so they can't be deciphered.
Fantastic. Now, through the magic of slides, we're going to see this come through here, of course, all in one go. The agents, however, would see those come across as dots on every single one of those digits in real time as the customer or caller entered those into their phone. They're going to then go ahead and ask for expiration, and let's say the customer accidentally fat-fingered that expiration. So they need to go ahead and re-enter that. The agent can clear that on their side and ask the caller to go ahead and re-enter that expiration. Once we get a green checkbox on that one, they can enter in their card verification number, and then we can go ahead and hit next. At that point, PCI Pal is going to submit that to the actual payment gateway, ensuring that they receive then a approval or approval token back from the payment gateway that we have received payment. Gary, anything you want to add there?
No, you hit it right on the head. And from there, we just send it back to your environment, wherever that might be. So we might be storing that in Salesforce or some type of a database. If we're storing a token for further use, or if it's an authorization, we're just sending that information back. But absolutely hit it right on the head.
Fantastic. I'll go ahead and pass it over to you to talk about speech.
Right. So the component that you just saw was our agent-assisted payment process, right? So we also, and in that process, you're entering this information via DTMF, or dual tone multi-frequency. That's the numbers that you hit on your phone keypad, right? However, oftentimes some organizations say, hey, you know what? I don't want my callers to have to enter this DTMF. We have an older clientele. They might have difficulties with this, et cetera. Are there any other options? And we do offer another option. We offer the option to allow the caller to speak their credit card information. In this case, we're doing something a little bit different. Instead of masking those tones in digit by digit, we're actually masking, or I'm sorry, we are muting that caller for a short period of time on the end of the agent, so the agent can't hear what the caller is speaking. We are doing in the background a speech-to-text conversion, and then the agent will see the same thing in their screen. They will see that process, right? So in the case of speech, the only thing that you notice different here is under each one of these fields, it says Start Speech Card Capture, okay? Or Start Speech Expiration Capture. So at that point, the agent would hit that button. The caller will hear a prompt to tell them to go ahead and speak their credit card information. And They will get a period of time to do that, and if they make a mistake, they can simply use a single word like help or something like that, and it will allow the agent to hear that, and then they can then help with that process. So you can see here we're doing the exact same thing. There's the credit card information, entering the expiration date, entering the CVV. Then we're going to go ahead and process that the same way, and they're up and running. They're on their way. So that's our speech capture within the agent-assisted solution. We also offer a digital solution that is designed for omni-channel. Our digital solution can be used with SMS. It can be used in a chat environment, with social, email, really any other place aside from entering via voice or DTMF. You would utilize our digital solution. It's going to look exactly the same to the agent for the most part. Right here in this screen, you're seeing an actual text interface. So off to the left, you'll see that the caller is no longer a caller. They're actually on their computer, and they're communicating via text. When it comes time to take a payment, the agent would send a link via chat to this customer, and as soon as that customer opens that up, the agent is notified that they opened it up and initiated that process. The customer can start entering their data same way that they do via telephone, but they're doing it via computer. And we're going to capture that information and process it in the same manner. You're seeing it as it progresses through on the screen here. There's your credit card information. There's your expiration, and there is your CVV. Now, I want to point out that as this is happening, the agent is seeing all this progress. So we're not just sending them to a link to complete a payment through a portal. They're actually connected. So the agent can see that the customer opened up that page. They can see that they entered their credit card information. They can see that they entered their expiration, their CVV. So if something happens there where it's slow or not moving, the agent can then send another chat message, right? Stating, are you having difficulty? Maybe I can help you out here, etc. So there is feedback that the agent is seeing through the entire process. And again, just like the other solution, we're just going to send that payment to the payment service provider. We're going to receive back a token or an authorization, and we're going to dump that back into your environment. So very, very similar to what we did with the other solution, just in a digital format. The other thing is we showed it using a workstation. We also, obviously there's a lot of people that would be using it via mobile device. So in a mobile situation, it's going to look exactly the same, except for having a separate window. It's going to actually be the window on your mobile device. And we'll just step right through that process again, where the credit card information is taken, the expiration, CVV, etc. We're going to process that payment, and we're good to go.
Excellent. So I think the big takeaway from those channels specifically is whether your customers are needing to process payments via SMS, via chat, or over the phone, voice, or DTMF, they have all of those capabilities.
Yes, absolutely.
Fantastic. So now we're going to talk a little bit about an agentless experience. So within the IVR, you can simply embed a payment collection system. This is going to be non-agent guided. So the IVR is going to walk them through the process of collecting the card information. This is great for call deflection and simple payment collection without needing to involve an agent in any way. Same type of thing is going to happen. The IVR will actually prompt them to enter in their card number, prompt them to enter in the expiration and the card verification number. And then, of course, that token is going to come back into the system to make sure that we can pass that on to either their payment processing agency or house that within Salesforce as necessary.
So just a couple key differentiators. Our solution is 100% cloud-based solution, so it's a true multi-tenant cloud solution that was built in the cloud. It's one of the differentiators from our perspective in that we had a solution that was a premise-based solution years ago, and rather than adapting that premise solution to a cloud solution, we actually went ahead and rebuilt the entire solution from the ground up in the cloud, and that is a differentiator for PCI Pal in the industry. Another key point here is that we are actually, if you notice during the graphs there when we were taking a payment, we were actually in the audio stream of the call. But a key point is that we're only in that audio stream for a very short period of time. We're only in the audio stream at time of payment. So we're not in the stream during the entire phone call. As soon as the agent initiates to make a payment, that's when we're brought into that audio stream. So we're actually only in there for that very short period of time. Once the payment is fully completed, we drop back out of that. So again, that's just that short piece there, right? And then another piece is this is your agent that's talking to your customer, right? It's not an automated process with the exception of the IVR where your agent lists. The rest of it is all managed by an agent. So from a customer experience perspective, you're maintaining that high quality customer experience because that agent never leaves the caller, right? So that all of that entire process is done between the agent and the caller. So the caller feels real good about the fact that they're with that agent the whole time. And then lastly, and I know that Joe brought this up earlier, but we are fully integrated into Vonage APIs. So it's a very, very tight and clean integration that we have here with Vonage. I personally started with PCI Pal 6 years ago. And this integration was there and working at that point, and it had already been in production for a couple of years at that point. So we've a lot of years working very tightly with a very close integrated solution and a very close integrated partnership with Vonage.
Yeah, and to that point, the reality that we're trying to solve for a lot of our customers is how to navigate the ever-changing landscape that is compliance across the globe. Every country has its own idiosyncrasies. Every location has its own problems it's trying to solve and different ways that it's looking to interact with its customers. So the partnership that PCI Pal and Vonage have forged throughout the years really drives to collaborative approaches on complex problems that allow us to stay within compliance and deliver exceptional customer experience to your customers.
And lastly, this is just the token logo slide, right? So this is just a very small sampling of some of the logos that we have together. But I think the point here that we want to make is that if you take a look at these logos, they're literally across every different type of vertical. So I can't think of a vertical that we don't have a customer base in. It's just about everything from retail to healthcare to finance, utilities, government agencies, higher education. I mean, we're literally in every type of vertical market, and we share those vertical markets with Vonage.
All right, at this point, we'll go ahead and open it up to any questions.
Got a question back here?
Do you guys integrate with every type of payment gateway, or do you have preferred gateways that you want to work with?
So, yeah, that's a great question. We currently have approximately 100 different gateways that we've integrated into. And if you have one that we haven't integrated into, as long as they have APIs for us to be able to connect, we absolutely will build that out. And that's done during the implementation process. So it's a great question. We got to 100 just because of situations like that, right? We're on a call with a customer and we find out that they have this strange payment gateway that we've never worked with before. And we just build that out. And there's no additional charge for building that out. It's just something that we build out, and then it becomes one that tacks onto that list. Yes. Any other questions? We must have done a good job if we didn't leave any questions, right?
All right, well, thank you all very much. If you have any other questions, Gary and myself will be around the floor and later on tonight during the pre-party. So please feel free to grab us at any point.
Thank you.